So, oh no, give me that sound. Oh, I gotta go like Cobain. 8 years to the grave, gone insane. My blood got propane. How you gon' go and throw my name with shame? Already cross-faded, making it to the disco. I hate it, and you know how this goes. You framed it, picture painted in my room. This that real life shit, not on Zoom. Got the scene in it.
Make sure you subscribe to
What's up, y'all? It
JerCrispy.
shows most death most. JerCrispy, welcome back to another video. What happened to Killer Bean? I heard that nigga was supposed to have a game coming out or something like that. It was supposed to be this year or next year, bro. I don't know which year it was supposed to be, but it was supposed to be a year that it actually come out. So let's see what happened to Killer B, bro. I got some good content for y'all for this, for basically for the rest of this week. So let's get it.
The game's just being delayed quite a bit. That's the...
Told y'all. Look, told y'all.
the short answer. And as for the long answer, the thinly veiled excuse to just talk about Killer Bean, well... In 2018, a hero was promised to us.
Gonna turn that shit down before they give a nigga a copyright. What's your ass nigga they get copyright?
A beloved feature-length film, a new series rolling out, a mobile game, plushies, figurines, collaborations, a pantheon of legendary characters, internet-wide, roaring fanfare. But now, with that premiere series cancelled and an open-world roguelike shooter in perpetual unrelease, Jeff Lu's Rogue Bean is nowhere to be seen. And so we've been left to wonder, what happened to Killer Bean?
Ain't it fun?
Ain't it fun?
Lu would release his magnum opus and cement his legacy in cinema with the 1 hour 25-minute trigger-happy caffeinated gunslinging action tapestry of Killer Bean Forever. And in 2018, he would upload the film to YouTube, where it now rests at a monolithic 75 million views. The story of the red-plated, golden-gunning Jack Bean as he finds himself at the center of detective mysteries, organized crime syndicates, and the ruthless pursuit of the corrupt shadow agency he once served. All the while proving to us time and time again through warehouse massacre after warehouse massacre that he has earned his moniker of Killer Bean. But this is
Killer Bean look like a fucking butt cheek, bro. Oh my god, bro.
also Killer Bean. And this is Killer Bean. And this is Killer Bean. So, The Matrix Reloaded, X-Men, Transformers 2 and 3. They all have one thing in common.
What?
1973's very own Jeff Lu. Having taught himself 3D animation for 2 years, Lu would enter the CG industry in 1997, working as an animator and visual effects artist in a
Oh, he did Percy Jackson. Hey! Shout out to Jeff Lu. That boy did Percy Jackson. Yes, sir. And Looney Tunes back in the action. Okay.
Releases. Cultivating the skill set he would go on to forge a pop culture icon with, but not before forging his own classic characters like the Fantastic Frog, Bilbo and the Gummy Bear, and Johnny Puma. Protagonist of Lu's unfinished, abandoned 1997 short film Concussion. Its trailer still actually intact on the Killer Bean channel today. A short film centering around, as it says, one man against all odds defying an empire, looking to be an action-packed frantic bout of martial artistry and gunfire. This green-haired Johnny Puma fighting off a flood of these futuristic soldiers and their grizzled captain. But it was 1 year before all this, before his professional career, that Lu in his own time would author and publish the genesis of Killer Bean, with the 3-minute bullet hell burst of the 1996 short, The Killer Bean.
Hold up.
3 beans stand guard
Ah,
around
damn, I'm about to wrap off that bit real
the
quick.
red bean bound to a chair. A 5th blue bean enters, gun in hand. We are in the hellish depths of the criminal underworld here. Though this red bean, despite being at the doorstep of a mafia execution, seems unfazed, playful even, ignoring his captors until casually revealing his name.
Now, who are you?
Killer Bean.
Bean. Jack Bean. Hmm?
That's why he stepped
The
it.
Killer Bean.
The entire dynamic changes as he is no longer stuck in here with them, but they are stuck in here with him. Reinforcements enter. A brutish, marauding green bean clobbers and bludgeons Killer Bean, ragdolling him against the wall, but it doesn't matter. He is the main character. Killer Bean breaks free, arming himself with his victims' guns and blasting and weaving his way through all of them. The film ending on a sadistic smile. He is the Killer Bean, and he enjoys it.
Damn.
You can tell from this Jelly Bean short and the unfinished work of Concussion that Killer Bean the idea was inevitable. Lou always wanted a stone-cold marksman assassin type to front whatever world he was creating. The combat, the dual pistols, the firefighting, the interrogation, even some near identically flowing choreography, even in works without any beats.
Ooh, boy. They need to go ahead and drop this game right here, man. I'm ready for that shit. I'll be playing that shit like 3 times.
Killer Bean DNA is unmistakable.
Yeah.
Concussion
Damn.
was released somewhere in 1997, and for the next 3 years, Lou would spend his late nights and weekends crafting a masterpiece. In 1999, a trailer would drop, showing an expanded, advanced, elaborated version of the now coffee Killer Bean, where in the year 2000,
Oh, coffee, yeah, coffee,
Killer
okay.
Bean 2, The Party, was released.
Dun, 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 dun. Damn. Boy, I hate to be a goon. Go back.
A warehouse
Go back. I hate to be a fucking goon. Look what that nigga just did to that goon. Man, look at this. Boy, I hate to be a goon. Boom. Had him lay that out and he didn't even get touched like that. That's crazy, bro.
house erupts into an absolutely raucous.
That nigga hitting that dance. Hello.
Of armed beings all
Whoa.
relentlessly and dancing together at 4 a.m. Just across the street, kept up and driven mad by the volume, Killer Bean. He calls DJ Bean once, reasonably, to turn down the music, but DJ Bean not only refuses, but rebels, disrespects, mocks his request, turning up the volume and throwing it back. And so his fate was sealed. Killer Bean gears up, puts his foot on the gas and prepares to kill some beans. Crashing violently into the warehouse, the music stopping, the beans stopping, the extermination beginning. And so commences an enthralling 2-minute bean war. Killer Bean systematically and stylishly tearing through this entire midnight militia.
Oh shit, that was shit. Hello, that nigga was smooth with that.
Systematically and stylishly tearing through this entire militia. Polishing each
nigga did some. Hey, that's crazy.
with a taunting pose or freezing time and commanding the camera to pan around him for maximum and something we don't really see later on in the franchise, as 2 of his victims come crashing down, set on literal fire and burning alive. Killer Bean just can't help but maniacally cackle as he admires the upbeat music here. This shot panning up from him to this terrified last survivor would be genuinely unnerving. This last being the DJ, I believe, escaping to the rooftop, his beloved CD in hand, just desperately outrunning this impossible bean-erasing machine, who is now up here with him. And so begins a final moonlit standoff. Or as much of a standoff as you can have with Killer Bean. It only takes a brief 20 seconds of Matrix bullet dodging for Killer Bean to send a golden bullet
smooth with it.
launching him into this oddly touching flashback sequence, reminiscing on the party in his final moments. And over his dead body, Killer Bean destroys his CD and returns home to get some sleep. Killer Bean 2, The Party, is easily my favorite installment in this franchise. While it may lack the scale or the interconnected characters and world or the fame of later parts, there's just something about it too. The vibrancy.
He just died on you. You just said, man, you know what? He dead already. Let me throw his body. Like, come on now.
The sheer expressiveness of the animation, the soundtrack, the aesthetic, the feel, the curveball of a pre-death flashback scene somehow landing without being too goofy to be taken seriously. I know this is a warehouse full of dancing beans being shot up by a killer bean, I know, but this is seriously well made for what Liu was working with. I wish this visual style would have continued into the future installments instead of what to me at least feels like a slightly more sanitized and flat look, but still, this is Killer Bean further evolving, very close to his final form now, albeit slightly more psychopathic and frenzied than cool and badass. A year after Killer Bean's 2 release, Jeff Liu would feature in the 9th issue of the 3D World magazine, an entire multi-page section dedicated to Killer Bean 2, sharing some insight into his creative process, the limitations and perks of his software, the practical effects, color balances, aesthetics, techniques and film forms he liked, the inspirations and ideas Jeff Liu had developed over his 3D animation journey, the early 2000s green tint of commercials and movies at the time, a particular feature he enjoyed recreating for the party. The film took an entire month to render while Liu was asleep or at work. In his section, he details, "It was tough. Spending so long to do it, things change in your life. I got married, went through 2 jobs and moved around a lot. I had to remain focused and disciplined. It was tough to work on it after a long day's work at my real job." There are a few details like this about Liu's personal journey with Killer Bean, buried among glowing praise and technical jargon, and hearing just how dedicated Liu has been to truly realizing this Killer Bean idea since 1996, possibly even before, adds so much depth to a world and character I otherwise just saw was, beans with guns. Comical. The party was posted to iFilm, where it received about 1 million views over the following 6 months, a result Liu was no doubt elated and motivated by, especially in the year 2000. It would then be 8 long years before the world saw another full Killer Bean release. Liu had his sights set on a feature film, and after receiving various calls from different movie producers that never developed, he decided he would do it himself. 1.5 years into the process, Liu would create this pre-visualization, laying out the blueprint for many of the film's ultimate scenes, with all the characters still being voiced by Jeff himself, but he hadn't yet finalized any of the characters' actual designs or made concept art for them, so all of these scenes had to be remade eventually. Liu would also post an ad on Craigslist for voice actors, auditioning 20 and casting 4. He would acquire the generational talent of Von C. Caberte in conceptualizing character designs, and decided motion capture would be used to speed up the animation process. The project, with its now cinematic scale, changed name from Killer Bean 3 to Killer Bean Forever, and after 1.5 years of pre-production, it was 2005. Jeff Liu's life work was now in full-scale production, where after a further 3 years of tireless craftsmanship and Shakespearean writing, 2008 saw the Killer Bean IP bought by Cinema Management Group, the film being screened at the Toronto Film Festival, and a year later, on July 14th, 2009, released into the world was Killer Bean Forever.
Hey, hold on, wait a minute. I gotta,
1.5 hours of Jack Killer Bean diving deeper and deeper into a shadow agency conspiracy, with mob bosses, detectives, assassins, soldiers, tanks, grenades, bullets, rifles, bikes, cars, snipers, expertly choreographed jail cell duels, frantic warehouse-bound bloodbaths, and tense barside standoffs, all entangled in this story with countless characters all fueled by their own motivations, intertwining with one another, with sinister forces pulling the strings beyond what we can see. The film's opening scene is a repeat of The Party, a warehouse full of breakdancing beans partying hysterically with the volume way too high, keeping Killer Bean up at night again. He calls the warehouse demanding they turn down the music, the DJ disrespectfully disobeys the request, and so again the absolute massacre ensues. Though this time, instead of the moonlit emotional climax of Killer Bean 2, the DJ Bean says this.
What? Are you insane? Do you know what you just got yourself into? Do you know who I am? Do you know who my uncle is? Yes, I do.
The film takes place in Beantown, a city ranging
Okay.
from skyscraping metropolises to rundown, decrepit
That nigga said, I don't give a fuck who your uncle is, nigga. You still gonna be dead.
As eerily devoid of life as an empty Gmod map, until of course there is some sort of crime going on where quadrillions of beans will immediately begin flooding out in emergency vehicles. It's a strange place, paradoxically rich in both policing and crime. And of the policing side, we are now introduced to Detective Cromwell, who with his colleague is investigating the warehouse the night after Killer Bean's slaughter, who, of course, leaves his name engraved on his golden bullets. Detective Cromwell, this hardened, stoic, veteran investigator, now has his target. But before the scene can conclude, he is interrupted by the arrival of a blacked out car, out of it emerging a cold, collected, black-plated Bean, who Cromwell greets as Vegan. As the film progresses, we are told more and more about each character's motives and purpose, and to begin with, it's mostly kept from us. For now,
That nigga dressed up like the Punisher? What the fuck? Hold on, go back. That nigga is dressing up like the Punisher. What is this?
about each character's motives and purpose, and to begin with, it's mostly kept from us. For now, all we know is this warehouse belongs to Vegan, who himself seems to serve someone Cromwell has been trying to track down for years, someone called Cappuccino. Cromwell tosses Killer Bean's bullet to Vegan. Now,
what makes someone's work a work of art?
Art takes countless ideas.
now both aware of who's to blame. Later that morning, Killer Bean, I guess not wanting the media attention and rumors spreading of the warehouse incident, is posted up with a fucking sniper rifle seconds away from ripping Cromwell out of this world. But just before he pulls the trigger, he's contacted by a superior, his boss, whoever he works for, an unknown scathing voice chastising him for causing such a mess, reminding him to
hunt down and eliminate the target.
And in the next scene, we see another new fearsome character, Jet Bean, who is contacted by the same mysterious superior and ordered on a hit mission into Beantown, his target not yet revealed. The last major player in this story is Cappuccino, Vegan's boss, a ruthless crime lord fighting bitterly to maintain his place in the cutthroat criminal underbelly of Beantown. That Bean, Killer Bean, executed in the warehouse at the start, that was his nephew. And Vegan just told him that. This is the setup for Jeff Liu's bizarre, Bean-centric, feature-length action masterpiece. Cromwell serving the state police force, Killer Bean and Jet Bean serving this greater unknown entity, Vegan serving Cappuccino with this infinite, expendable, relentless supply of cannon fodder soldier, criminal and officer Bean serving only to be mowed down by Killer Bean as he encounters and reckons with each of them. We watch as Vegan and Killer Bean clash in battles without a victor, as Cromwell and Killer Bean meet in this nail-biting barstool gun-to-the-head negotiation. Cromwell trying to convince Killer Bean to unite against what he thinks is their common enemy in Cappuccino, but Killer Bean refusing, only for us and Cromwell to learn about the Shadow Beans, this task force of world-ending super soldiers trained and employed by this unknowable vast organization known as the Shadow Agency, corrupt and thought to be decommissioned years ago. Both Jet Bean and Killer Bean being Shadow Beans themselves, Vegan being an ex-Shadow Bean, betraying the agency after learning of their hidden, reprehensible, immoral ways. Killer Bean being sent to kill Vegan, and Jet Bean being sent to kill Killer Bean. We witness even more frantic and brutal and seemingly unwinnable warehouse armies getting systematically dismantled by Killer Bean's sheer combat prowess, as he is, in honor of his primordial jelly bean ancestor, interrogated by Cappuccino, only to death-defyingly murder his way out of the situation. Killer Bean slowly realizing over the course of the later half through this just incredible standoff scene where Vegan explains the true nature of the agency, that the masters he served, who he thought were vigilante heroes, have grown into an unprincipled villainous association, assassinating their own men who reject or learn of their intentions, of which Killer Bean is now one. Hence, referenced the deployment of the absolutely formidable jet beam, where this rapid, non-stop, high-octane fight scene of bullet deflections, power bombs, arm bars, kicks, and punches ends the film on an unforgettable high. Killer Bean just barely outclassing his fellow Shadow Bean as he drives off into the city, now on the run from an inescapable enemy.
Okay.
It's easy to see how Killer Bean Forever made the impact it did.
That ain't even bad.
It isn't just absurd and outlandish with golden gun-wielding beans in comically serious and violent scenarios, but it's genuinely compelling, actually unironically good at landing jokes and pacing scenes. And Jeff...
He ended up killing him? Yo, that's crazy.
Blue absolutely knows how to do a fight scene. I can't help but feel like he had a lot of fun writing Jet Bean into the story, being this satirical caricature of the Asian kung fu master stereotype, with the "you deliver wrong place" joke and him performing an armbar on Killer Bean. Given Jeff Liu's childhood learning martial arts, I'm sure he enjoyed making this moment, and the rest of this fight scene feels so real and brutal. The film is
in the
also
back of the head is
a
crazy.
gold mine of meme material. The
Somebody
ragdolling effect whenever a bean dies, the completely serious delivery of Vegas E-Trip as Killer Bean and Brian Session as Cromwell and Vegan, and the swelling of emotion on their bean faces is hilarious. And yeah, it's an hour and a half of beans with guns. Comical. My only gripe is the color palette and visuals feeling washed out and, like I said, flat compared to Killer Bean 2, but it's more than good enough everywhere else to make up for that. The film released to an interesting 2009 reception, from being praised as impressive for its budget and one-man team to being a so bad it's good dumpster fire. It didn't matter whether people enjoyed it ironically or unironically, because everyone enjoyed it. But you didn't watch it in 2009. Did you? The cult following of the film didn't materialize anytime near its initial release, but instead, when Liu would upload the film to YouTube on the 20th of May 2018, 9 years later, for free, in its entirety, for anyone and everyone to watch. And that's exactly what happened.
It's like unironically cool. like genuinely.
Damn!
And they call themselves the Shadow Beans.
And yep, there we go. Where it belongs.
God, this is making my fucking cock throb.
Whoa, penguin. What the fuck, bro? Whoa. That nigga younger than... Whoa, wait a minute.
Guns. Comical. A sentiment shared 76 million times. In the 7 years Killer Bean Forever has been up on YouTube, it has exploded and bulldozed through the underground early 2000s animation sphere it was confined to, and become an internationally celebrated meme powerhouse, becoming the subject of countless reaction videos, stream watch-alongs, and video essays, with titanic view-laundering creators like Moist Critical picking it up on stream while it was still in the low millions and helping to catapult it to its now glorious throne. Jet Bean falling over, the warehouse dance sequence, the ragdolling, Cappuccino hitting one of his beans out the window, all these moments that had just been waiting for mass feverish adoption and memification for years were now bathing in exactly that. Views just poured around this time too. The mobile game with its campaign, different side modes, its own obscure lore full of dungeons and underground complexes and UFOs and new enemies, boss fights, and procedurally generated areas. Killer Bean mania was real. He was known and he was hungered for, and Jeff Liu was more than happy to provide. It took just 2 years for the next mainline appearance of Killer Bean in May 2020 with the return of Killer Bean. A 5-minute short acting more as a teaser for the upcoming series. Killer Bean jumping and destroying a small militia of beans as they patrol and commandeer his infamous car, with the lighting and detail of the animation being way more realistic than prior. And just 4 months after this, a generational, legendary, cinematic, sprawling animated series would begin marching onto YouTube, with the first installment of what has become one of humanity's most celebrated works of fiction, Killer Bean, Episode 1. I do not like it. I don't like Killer Bean Episode 1. Or 2. or 3. Killer Bean Forever ended on a cliffhanger, with Killer Bean taking a deserted, heavily armed police van and driving it off into the city. And episode 1 picks up directly after this, where we see Killer Bean tracking down Kessler, another former Shadow Bean, this sort of basement-dwelling, AI-crafting, drone-building tech god super genius, unleashing swarms of hostile drones upon Killer Bean as he violently explodes his way into Kessler's hideout, revealing his own agenda against the Shadow Agency, and after their altercation, allying with and equipping Killer Bean with this multi-personality floating AI companion called Max to aid him in battle. Or at least that's all after 8 whole minutes of this.
What do we do with this job?
Hey, did you hear what happened last night?
Yo, that's crazy.
What are we gonna do now?
What on earth are we gonna do now?
I hope the cops don't show up today. I'd like to take a nap during lunch.
I forgot my gun at home. Can I borrow someone else's?
Bro, do you know what this means? We've been looking at female bean butts this whole time.
Just some of the worst dialogue possible. I'm not gonna go on a rant bashing on the performances in this scene, because one, it's a bunch of fans voicing these beans. I'm sure they didn't get on this to be criticized. I bet it was a load of fun. It's Jeff Lu wanting to give back to his audience, and God knows if I got that Jeff Lu call, I would have been racing to make my foolish appearance. And two, while it is certainly at its lowest point here, this isn't just a poor scene. This is kind of the entire series. Killer Bean, the series, has awkward, clumsy, bloated dialogue, dull, soulless voice acting, and boring, stunted pacing throughout its entirety, and is an uncopable downgrade from everything that came before. The fact that of all the new characters introduced, Kessler, voiced by Moist Critical, has the most vibrant, fun performance in this thing is all you need to know. Okay, bar Sniper in episode 2, she actually has a pretty good performance, but still, the point stands. And if your counter to this is, well, it's not supposed to be good, it's Killer Bean, it's supposed to be stupid and silly and unserious, it's an action series about beans, then did we even watch the same movie? The reason Killer Bean has done stupid and silly so well up until this point is because it has taken itself seriously. That is what creates the juxtaposition between haha funny beans and serious badass action franchise, therefore producing an actually funny and entertaining piece of media, not this kind of lowbrow fan service slog.
I lied to you, I would do some voice acting for Killer Bean though, I ain't gonna hold you that. Like, man, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is we doing here, bro? The fuck?
Was like a waste of Killer Bean's potential. The only improvement here is like graphical fidelity, and even then for me this one positive is counterbalanced by the new character designs. Every new Shadow Bean being designed not like the satirical tongue-in-cheek Bean takes on Deadly Mercenaries, but like Fortnite Battle Pass skins. Episode 2 is just more of this goo goo gaga new age Killer Bean. The newest Shadow Beans introduced here are Sniper, who as I said honestly isn't that bad, and Reximus, who is. He's a gamer who drone strikes kids' IP addresses when they kill him in game, and I guess it's supposed to be a hot-headed impulsive killer or something because he hot-headedly impulsively kills several of his own men, but is also voice acted with all the volcanic rage of a beautiful, tranquil, quaint pond.
We haven't earned any revenue in months. None of us have had a raise in years.
Oh, you want a raise?
Damn! Yeah, I'm straight on that race.
Anyone else have a problem?
He does.
What?
Oh, you got a problem?
No.
You're fired. Anyone else?
The episode follows as Killer Bean and Max raid Reximus' compound to acquire a CPU MacGuffin for Kessler, with some still fun enough but too brief shoot-em-up action sequences. The episode ending on a cliffhanger as Sniper fires a shot at Killer Bean and the screen cuts to black, where we, the enthralled audience, would have to wait an agonizing 343 days to find out what happened.
That's crazy.
With the eventual untimely release of Killer Bean episode.
Hey!
Where episode 3? Oh, the series was cancelled because of false copyright claims from a Hindi re-uploader of Killer Bean Forever and Jeff Lu just kind of wanting to do something else. Okay, good. The sacred icon of Killer Bean is saved from any further humiliation at the hands of this god-awful series and is finally allowed to move on to something new, something greater, to reach its bean hands through the passive medium and into the interactive. Killer Bean was still beloved and eternally remembered for what he once was. The possibility for another Killer Bean hit remained, and Jeff Lu had another shot at greatness in his sights, this time a Killer Bean game.
Hey, pull up 224. I'm Killer Bean, you already know what that gotta go. Don't give a fuck no more, I just be running into the flow. Hey!
2023. Jeff Lu announced Killer Bean the game. After 2 years of development, he had this trailer to show us. An open world roguelike first and third person shooter with plenty of customization, vehicles, explosions, epic slow motion moments, cinematic finishes, a rich, sprawling combat system with options at all ranges to approach and wipe out the Shadow Agency's forces across vast mountain ranges, high-tech compounds, bustling cityscapes, Arctic tundras, ocean wars.
Hey, we get this, bro. If we get this before GTA 6, I'd be happy.
And zombie-infested laboratories.
That's
Since
crazy.
this jaw-dropping announcement, Jeff Lu has gradually revealed and shared more and more snippets of this game as he's worked on it. Bits of missions, bits of multiplayer, bits of different encounters and scenarios, boss fights, a sandbox mode, real-time cutscenes, new shadow beans, and mysterious characters. Set pieces just erupting into absolute chaos. This wealth of genuinely exciting features and gameplay that looks actually really engaging and fun being revealed to us drop by drop until the game's ultimate release on well, we don't know. Nobody really knows when the game is releasing. It was September 2023, then summer 2024, then early 2025, then well, it's July now, and beyond some limited playtests going on,
well, it's August
the game
now,
is
so
not
yeah.
out. I am in no position to complain about this. None of us are. Jeff Lu should take as long as he wants with this. It's his baby, his impossible passion project, and I am genuinely excited by everything he's shown about this game. If it comes out tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, next decade, we should give him his props and enjoy his work. It looks like it's basically just him working on the project as well, and if one man making a feature film was impressive, then that same man going on to make an open world roguelike story-driven multiplayer sandbox shooter title is
nigga got zombies on it. The zombies about to be dumb. I already know. And the multiplayer about to be done whenever this come out, bro.
The most recent mentions of a release date I could find from Lu were these Twitter replies on July 1st. Possibly August. We'll see how July goes for me, and it might be late summer. This month is make or break month for me. So, it is still summer, and that was almost a month ago, and although it's been said before, maybe this summer it will happen. Maybe this summer will be the summer of Killer Bean once more. The time for the stars to...
Imagine Killer Bean get the fucking Game of the Year awards than GTA. Well, that shit would be funny as fuck.
Work of Jeff Lu's entire life
I'm gonna sit down and laugh.
Realized for years of late nights, tireless animation, script writing, storyboarding, world building, endless programming, and total devotion to truly pay off for us to be able to become Killer Bean. But we can only guess. We were in this exact same spot, this exact same time last year. As long as Jeff Lu stays in good health and sound mind, the game is coming. Slowly but surely, through all the highs and lows, Jeff Lu has persevered and is continuing to craft this precious world and character of his. But for now at least, that's where we are. That's all we know. That's what happened to Killer Bean.
Alright. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, follow our social media, they pop on the screen. And how y'all feel about Killer Bean, man? You know, I feel like the game gonna be lit as hell. It's gonna be fun to play and, you know, go down. Alright. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, follow our social media, it's gonna pop on the screen. We're on the road to 300 and I'm out.